Welcome to Linkedpreneur Stories. Welcome back again to Linkedpreneur Stories. Welcome to Linkedpreneur Stories. Welcome back to Linkedpreneur Stories. We are live. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon to all of you, whichever part of the world you're tuning in. Tell us how your day was. Here I am, yet again, another episode with another fabulous guest today who have made it to the top, shared their expertise, their strength to just uplift everyone across the world. Today's episode is indeed a very, very, very special episode. Are you ready for it? Welcome to Linkedpreneur Stories. Welcome back again to Linkedpreneur Stories. Welcome to Linkedpreneur Stories. Welcome back to Linkedpreneur Stories. We are live. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon to all of you, whichever part of the world you're tuning in. Tell us how your day was. Here I am, yet again, another episode with another fabulous guest today who have made it to the top, shared their expertise, their strength to just uplift everyone across the world. Today's episode is indeed a very, very, very special episode. Are you ready for it? Hello, everybody. Welcome to Linkedpreneur Stories. Yes, something that you would have heard so many times already if you have been to Linkedpreneur Stories. And if this is your first time, then a very, very warm welcome to the world of meeting the business minds who have done, dusted, had gone through a grind and a ride of hustle and are proving their name in this world map at the same time, a group who are ambitious enough and want to grow up the career, that corporate ladder, conquer their goals, get up to the top of their success ride. The two coming in together, one as our esteemed guest, as and the second as our amazing, amazing tribe to be able to exchange wisdom. So, today, one such amazing guest who's going to join us is going to talk about storytelling, a topic I've been always fascinated about, and something I even spoke at TEDx. And today, another female founder is going to come with me to talk about it. Do you want to know what is business storytelling? Have you always been wanted to get started with it? Is it something that you would like to get into and create one for your own organization? Then let me tell you, this is the time where we have one amazing guest to uncover it. But before that, welcoming everybody to the LinkedIn Live Linkpreneur stories, and I'm waiting to see some amazing highs from everybody who's watching. Hey guys, welcome, 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 welcome to Tuesday evening. So every Tuesday evening, 8:30 p.m. Malaysia Singapore time is when exactly we come live and bring one story from across the globe to come and share with you their own journey and their challenges, and at the same time their successes. How did they made it? All of those. But before this, let's hear it, guys. What is the most interesting thing that you did today? Let's hear it. I'm seeing Saurav, Diong, Shubham, Morna, Nupur, Anil already joining us. Hey guys, let's hear it. What is the one most interesting thing that you did today? So one of the most interesting thing that I did today was clearly to be on calls non-stop. When I say literally non-stop, there is no window of even 5 minutes in between the calls, starting morning 10 to right here, right now until 8 p.m. Non-stop, back to back. I don't even know how many calls I had, but generally I do get some breather. But today was not of that day. Though I enjoyed, no complaints. It was really a lot of fun having those calls, but I hope I could get my lunch window. But with this, I'm going to invite in. So I'm also reading the chat messages, guys. Of course, Diong is telling me from Kuala Lumpur. Let's hear it from others who are watching. Hey, guys, everybody who's watching, tell me from which part of the world are you tuning in from? And bringing up with me my co-founder and co-host of Linkprana Stories, Anil Meghani from Singapore. Hey, Anil, welcome up on the stage. You will have to unmute yourself to be just making
Hey
us.
guys, very good evening. This is Anil Meghani signing in from Singapore. And one interesting thing which I did today, Kush, was I went outside to meet a friend of mine who's gonna be on our show on the coming week on the
Oh,
same
yes.
stories, same Tuesday, same 8:30 p.m. So super excited.
Correct. I am also. And I'm also excited for our today's guest. So,
Ex-
indeed, I'm also reading some of the amazing comments. Saurav was telling I just came from laboratory, first time in the college after COVID. Oh, not bad. I think Chief is telling us super to have I Ching tonight with us on Link Prana Story. Jayanti, hey Kush KL, of course. Amazing, guys. Over to you, Anil.
Okay, I think with no further ado, let's welcome our next guest. And since we all know it's all about storytelling, so guys, hold on to your breath, relax. I'm going to tell you a small story right now. Long, long ago, this story actually started after a burnout working at PNG and then ultimately leading to 3 months bedridden experience at the age of 25. This is the time when she decided to start her own company together with her husband, at the time, a web design agency with the purpose of eliminating the Monday blues, which we all have, guys, right? And build a company where people come first. One day, about 10 years ago, dreaming about the power of visual storytelling, she started working on PictoChart, a software that allows you to easily create infographics. I love infographics. I love infographics. Today, she's still working on PictoChart and her team are in it for the long haul, building a sustainable company that constantly takes daring steps to improve the quality of life of everyone involved here. So let's welcome with a round of applause to the co-founder of PictoChart, I Ching.
Hey everyone, it's really good to be here.
It is an equally deep pleasure to have you with us. And Anil, that was lovely. Thank you so much for sharing amazing things about I Ching. And I'm going to discover so much more now.
See you soon.
Lovely. So, I Ching, okay, I have so many things that I want to chat about. But I think one of the most powerful things, and today the people have been so excited to hear, is storytelling. To be able to see what is it and why is it even so important. Of course, before I get into that, I really want to know. Of course, Anil shared a bit of a glimpse about your story from an intrapreneur to an entrepreneur. from going all out to become from an associate media manager to becoming founder to picto charts and picto stories. So please tell me, what was your motivation to be able to go out and set up a company and get into this entire grind? Whereas sometimes we always have that saying, right? Jobs are always a safer place to be and it's less riskier and all of those. But what get you to do what you're doing right now?
Yeah. Yeah, thanks for the question. So I think Anil, it's so nice like when somebody else tells your story, because you get to hear it yourself. But what he said was quite true and quite correct. So what happened was I never planned to be an entrepreneur. It wasn't like, since I was young, I was like, I dream about being like a Mark Zuckerberg or Steve Jobs. Like it's never been like that at all. And for me, it was a lot about, I was in my first corporate job. Has nothing to do with the company, naturally. It has everything to do with, I don't know, like my immaturity but I was going through it and I had such a bad burnout to the point that, like you said, I had to go through a surgery and then I was bedridden. And here I was in my early 20s in my first job. And when such a thing happens to you, something so close to death or immobility, like 3 months in bed, it made me question all of my priorities in life. And I was like, what do I really want out of life? Like, is this what I want? Like, do I want to burn myself out? Or like, is there something more, to work itself? Is there more meaning, more purpose, like to work itself? So I didn't know what to do yet, but my husband and I, we both said, okay, since we can't find another company to do this, so why don't we run our own company? So the first thing we did, we looked at his skills, my skill sets, and then we both decided we were going to run a web design consultancy firm. So essentially, we built WordPress, Magento, websites for clients. I was looking for clients. I was in charge of marketing and sales, and that was how I came across inbound marketing. Blogging and everything was going to be so much more popular. And with that, we felt that visual storytelling. Today, I know the word. Back then, I didn't know the word, but visual
Yeah.
storytelling was going to be, yeah, so that's how the whole idea came about. We started off with infographics first, but then over time we realized also people don't come to us to create infographic. A HR person, she has created a learning development program for an entire quarter, and she wants to know what's the effectiveness. How do I get more budget from management? So then she creates an infographic to present those results. Or a job seeker, maybe creating a visual, resume or CV to get a job. So everyone has a different job to do. Not everyone like they don't come here to create an infographic. An
Correct.
infographic is just a media, right? It's a means to
Right.
an end. It's not the end itself. So that's what we noticed, and that's why the whole company we started repositioning ourselves a lot around business storytelling now.
Superb. That's amazing. I think, of course, there are so many things. I think so many of us are there would be who would be doing things they do not want to do, but they're doing it for the sake of course, the growth, the grind, and all of those things. Of course, we do not want anything what happened with you to happen with anybody to have that realization, but definitely a good. I would say it is really a good epitome for others to see it and not get to the point where you really get to that severe health condition, because I think that gives a very bad taste of life as well and memory. But at the same time, when you got into visual storytelling and that too with your husband, so indeed was it, because there are, I work with my husband, so I've been working with my husband even when before we were married and we were together. So I think I do understand the pros and cons, but it'll be lovely for you to also share your side of the story. How's it working with the partner at home and as well as at the business being the same person?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I get that all the time. So I'm gonna say this. I like to summarize it all. Of course, we've had our ups and downs. We had to learn through each other's like, hey, what's your working style? How to not push the buttons? Like, don't bring work past dinner time. Don't keep talking about work. And like we had to set up certain guidelines. Like, let's still have like date nights. Like we had to do a couple of things. But my one sentence summary is I would not have chosen a different person to be my co-founder. If I had to like reverse and do everything all over again. So I think that speaks like for my summary. Of course, we've gone through
Absolutely.
yeah, but I would say like there is a con, not so much to do with my husband and I, but how we're perceived. So back in the earlier days when we were still thinking about raising funds, and we met with a couple of
Wow.
investors, and then they said like, oh, you're probably not going to be very serious about your business since you're a husband and wife team. If you all argue, get divorced, then that's it. The business is gone. And I was like, what? Yeah,
Exactly. I so damn relate with this. I don't know why investors are like wanting to break the marriages, and the one thing they say, what if anything happens? I know it's not going to happen, but I have been through that conversation as well. I so damn relate with it. And they will show you the worst in the marriage, and they're like, how? And they're like, oh my God, I can relate with it.
yeah. So that I would say is the maybe one of the only cons, but I have to say it's not every couple can do it. Like I have to say that also. Like I know of some friends who are like, oh, I'm coming out of this, like either wife or husband is stepping out and then the other one continues with a different person. So that has happened, and that's okay. I think it just depends, but likely for yourself and myself, like it worked out. So that's great.
Correct. I think that's interesting. So many of the people who've asked this question, I have to say that plus one to everything that I said, and I could relate with it. I would have never gone back and changed or made any change in the entire structure of the organization that has been in the entire journey. But with this, no further ado. People are waiting to hear about visual storytelling, business storytelling, and what is it all about? I mean, why? Why should we even worry about it? Why is it even a thing?
Yeah, and I think like this part, if I can answer it with like, something quite short, I would say, well, when you look at brands these days, like let's talk about yourself, right? Like, how do you relate to a brand? What catches your attention? For a sea of like, let's say if you had to, I don't know, choose a car to buy, or like you go by, there is something that you relate to. So, traditional marketing goes like, you need to understand your user persona, and then you need to know where they hang out, and then you need to know how to speak to them. But where storytelling really comes in is how you relate to them. So that's like an additional dimension of the whole, like of marketing, especially. But it's not just marketing. I think all founders, all CEOs, even in HR, actually, I almost feel like anybody who needs to communicate, which is everybody in the working world, literally needs to learn storytelling, because all of us have a point in order to make in our lives as a project manager, or whether you're a finance manager. Like you all have data, you all have something that you want to say. So what I usually say is that a couple of people ask me, well, but I'm not a storyteller, I'm not a CEO, I'm not a communication specialist, I didn't go through any degree to do that. How do I do that? So I always offer just a couple of things to think about. Well, first is whether it's at your workplace or somewhere else, even especially if you're a founder, like what do you stand for? What's your, if you're thinking about the general overview for the company, I'm not talking about specific project and storytelling, but the general overall company, what do you stand for? What values do you have that is different than anybody else? What do you disagree or agree about that everybody else disagrees or agrees about? Like, so you're at the contrary, because that's usually a very, very good angle. For me, I would say as a founder, I have a lot of it being in the bootstrap, because most people raise funds, like bootstrap, we're a minority. I have it around 4-day work week. I have it around like the whole like overly to a lot of emphasis around people oriented like culture and motivation. I have it around like storytelling. So I have a couple of things that makes me stand out, because I think in ways, or I kind of disagree with the flow. So knowing what that thing is, what are those things and why they matter to either my customers or to the people I'm trying to hire and recruit, that's really important. So knowing that. And then the second thing I usually say is find the style that suits you most. So a lot of people think like, oh, Steve Jobs is a great presenter. Just, watch his presentation and take notes and like copy. But I was like, no, because Steve Jobs has his own style and you have your own. But I can give a couple of them that I think are like general styles that I've seen in founders or very successful people. One is the factual type. They're like the very data-oriented type, and they're like, they're all about these are the facts. Like, these were our numbers. Look where we're going, and they tell a story. Like it's incredible. One of the examples I have of such a person, I think, is Nancy Duarte. Although she's actually a mix, because she her profession is she's a storyteller. She teaches big companies like Apple and all that how to tell their stories. So that like I would see people like that. They're very grounded, not just in numbers, but it could be in facts, in information. And then the second type, which is I think a more common type, and these days you see a lot of it, the vulnerable type. So the people who like telling stories, the people who, they would go through I just started the whole conversation with that, right? I've been
Correct.
bedridden. Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, that
Correct.
was my motivation to start. That's why I love people, and the whole organization centered around people. So that's a flowing story, and you don't mind, telling people all the mistakes and all the terrible mess you've been through. So that's the second type. The third type is the fun people, like they almost comedians, like they come on and then they just like they're so full of they just roll out jokes as if like and they people
I
laugh.
think
Yeah,
correct. I think I know one such person is Patrick Bet David. I think he valuetainment. He does entertainment and he brings in value and he will.
yeah,
So somewhere the datas are definitely there, but when he shares the content, he will just go all out and make sure that people are engaged with the right stories and the right visuals that he brings up. So I can surely relate with it. Not bad, because this is what we refer to as voice or tone that a
yeah,
brand or an individual must choose. Okay,
yeah,
so guys, a quick question. Which one do you relate with the most? Like more of a data driven, more of a vulnerability driven, or more of fun driven? Let's hear it, guys. Let's hear it in the comment section. Which kind of story do you relate with the most? And which you feel yourself connected with, because I think one of the most important things for us when we try to say a story is we must connect with it, we must find our authenticity there, isn't it?
yeah, that's right. So that's also why I think the message of which we're trying to deliver is the most important. But once you know what that message is, then it's all about how do you deliver it. And like I said, previously in the beginning, I was also trying to kind of copy what worked for everyone else, take notes. And then after I realized, no, that's not going to work because it's not me. I can try very hard to copy, but I have my story, and there's only one way to tell my story, right? So I kind of encourage everyone else to, take a look. But the most important one is actually figuring out what is worth telling. Like whether it's you're trying to raise an investment or whether you are, you're trying to do marketing, you're trying to connect with your customers. So understanding who they are and which story matters the most for them to hear it. And then, just communicating, I think practicing, rehearsing a ton, getting lots of feedback on that and just regularly yeah, bringing that forth. So that's been usually part of what I do. My own storytelling, I do it internally within the organization. I also do it externally, mostly for recruitment actually. So in my business, I didn't need to do it so much for the marketing purpose, but I do need to do it for recruitment because that's like a major part of my role at the moment. So that's why it's a lot of talk about culture. But that's why it's so important finding out what is worth telling, which story is worth sharing first. Yeah.
So that's interesting, because I think it completely is showcasing that usually people, when they think about stories, it's more for marketing, but now it has evolved for the business purposes, and a complete business must have stories.
Yeah.
Recently, I've always also preached about the fact, and I'm so glad you also mentioned about it, that every individual also have their story, whether they are in any segment, any sector, or any stage of their life. And I think that is what stands them out, and even at some point of time it helps them with the promotions or growth in their corporate journey as well. Interestingly, I didn't think about the side where you're talking about hiring and we're talking about how exactly that brings in a value. I mean, do you want us to walk us a little bit how exactly hiring has been a plus for you with stories, or visual storytelling or business storytelling?
Yeah, sure. So the reason why I don't major in visual storytelling is because we usually partner. Like last year, we had a business storytelling summit. We invited, world renowned like experts on storytelling to basically be in the summit itself. So we can't possibly be producing all of the content, on our own. But my role as a bootstrap company that's constantly growing, we always need talent, but we're obviously also restrained or constrained, in certain ways. So it's
Correct.
very important for us to attract the right people to join us. So people who care about, a people-oriented like company that's building, fun and innovative products. But we, our story isn't like, okay, we're trying to be a rocket ship and we're growing like, 100, 200% like per year. We're definitely not that. So we attract a certain group of people. And I felt that through through the interviews and the stories and the things that I've regularly been talking about, especially on LinkedIn, actually, that is a number of people find out about the organization and then they spread the word. So then, like, as a tiny company with a small budget, we are still able to get the word out, about why we're different. And if you're looking not to work like a crazy amount of hours, but still grow, still have fun, be in a very human, type of organization, then PictoChat could be an option, especially for remote people and with 4-day work week and all that. So that storyline's consistent, and over time, people know about us because of all of these things. Yeah.
That's not bad because I love the culture side of it, and of course I've also noticed that when you're able to put yourself out there, they know the leaders of the organization, and automatically the people feel they're in safe hands. So guys,
Correct.
if you have been wanting to look for collaborators and the partners, I surely believe that being all out and going and putting yourself authentically has been a booster in our team for sure, and I can connect with it as well. I do see an echo suddenly happening, but I hope, guys, you can get the audio pretty clear. But with this, hi Ching, I'm excited to get to our first rapid fire of the day. So, are you ready to get into the rapid fire zone?
Sure. Let's go.
Okay, let's do it. So, let's play a rapid fire, which is from your den, which means we get to really uncover a little bit more about you and your preferences in life. So, the first question: what was the last Netflix show that you were watching?
Oh, good question. I don't have Netflix.
Oh wow, okay, that's very interesting. So, last show that you actually saw, or any kind of visual content that you consumed?
Um, oh, this is tough. I think the last like TV series I watched was Sherlock Holmes. That's a really long while ago.
I'm then in that case, I think is it all the kids shows that you would have seen because you're a mother as well, and indeed the kids are so much into watching.
Yeah, I know. I do read. I watch YouTube and certain like videos and things like that. But I don't watch. I don't follow TV shows basically. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, three places on the internet that you spend a lot of time, excluding Facebook and Google.
Oh dear. So Gmail doesn't count, right? Google Drive doesn't count. I guess now Jira counts. Slack counts. No, nothing work. Basically, nothing work related.
I would say nothing really which enhances the work productivity. So not those.
Okay. Probably I would choose Medium. I was doing a lot of research on TikTok, but that was research. I'm out of it now. Because I'm big to story and we wanted to check out videos. I don't know. I try my best not to spend that much time. I spend a lot of time on Kindle, but there isn't internet either. So
Okay, cool. One medium of storytelling which is the best according to you.
definitely video, 100% video. Video carries a lot of emotions, a lot of like authenticity comes across the best through videos.
One holiday destination that you would go post pandemic?
I probably just want to go home and see my in-laws. They live in Italy, so that's already a holiday destination with so.
That's beautiful. Investment you're super proud of.
I I can't even think. Okay, the reason is because my first investment is the most memorable one, not the one I'm most proud of. I just bought a branded, designer bag. That was the first and the last time I ever bought one, actually. Because-
But it's
yeah,
okay to pamper yourself a little bit. It's always like, you work so hard, that's okay.
yeah, no, but it's totally hilarious because it's not my personality to do that. That's why it's funny. But
I get it. I can also relate with that part because it's not me, but maybe if once I do it, I will also have that feeling. So indeed, one mistake in life that you believe you wouldn't want to repeat ever.
I stopped growing. In other words, I stopped reading. I stopped, looking for coaches. I stopped looking for, actively stopped looking for ways to grow myself. That's the worst mistake I've ever made.
Oh, that's very interesting. That's actually how people can stop in life in very short. Last, one piece of advice that you have for other female entrepreneurs out here, or even entrepreneurs out here.
I always say, I personally live by two things. One is bias for action. So make sure that, the second you plan, don't hesitate too much. Put it to test, experiment with it, see what happens. nobody gets killed. The second thing I always say is live life backwards. The reason is because entrepreneurs, we all of us have a tendency to burn out, work too long hours, have a quality of health and everything suffer so much. So because of the incident that happened to me, I had to kind of put myself in the far future and then think like, if by the age of 60, I want to be there, how do I live my life backwards? Like what kind of time do I have to spend in, my body and health and, with my children and all that kind of stuff. So that's a very real question. I hope that entrepreneurs would think about that, not just how to grow the company.
I think that's really good piece of advice. We, because of the pandemic, also the burnouts have become too real, and mental stress has also increased. I'm not sure why the audio is giving me such a hard time today, but I'm surely there is some concerns with it. But yes, guys, please stay with us. I'm sure we can go through it. But yes, I think it was wonderful. In terms of the rapid fire, it was beautiful to uncover so much about you, and especially the part which is the final thing that you mentioned, that avoid burnouts, guys. Just go enjoy life and live it backwards, because somewhere what's going to happen, it's going to happen. But at the same time, actually, I think we are on business storytelling, and I would love for you to. You mentioned in the rapid fire about the videos as well. So, how do you think if someone wants to start with storytelling? What is the practical piece of advice that you can give it to them so that they can just jump off the cliff and think about crafting a story? Maybe not a perfect one, but how do they do it?
Yeah, absolutely. So we also have to do that, like on our site, like for promotional purposes, because we're an all-in-one video editor too. So video is all we do, essentially. So I think the first thing for us was that we narrowed down what target audience we had, because not every video editor or video content creator is our target audience. So once we knew who they were, then we went into like, okay, what do they care about? And we did a bit of a research, in the market just to see what kind of messages already go out there. Again, we tried to look for what do we stand for that is unique, that everybody else says go right and we're like, no, let's go left, or something like that. Once we found out what that messaging was, then we just, like similar to everybody else, kept thinking about like questions, like what ifs or before afters or whatever, like whichever content angle, in order for us to come up with something that was worth telling, propelling that story over and over again. So in this case, we're trying to say video really is on the rise and everyone can create videos. Like a lot of people think, no, I need to have a good face. I need to have an expensive DSLR. I need to have a professional, like 1,000 ringgit, like microphone and all that kind of stuff. And we're like, no, you can start video anywhere. And video, if you don't do it, you're really going to get left out because video is way too huge right now. Every single social media algorithm, apart from Twitter, is prioritizing video. It is going to not be a good thing if like companies and businesses don't start doing videos right now. So we're basically telling that story, but that line and that message, but we're using different angles, in order to kind of encourage people to create videos with very minimal budget. Yeah.
So apart from, of course, not starting out, what are the most common mistakes people can actually make while going all out and creating that story for themselves?
I think recently I felt like a lot of people copy, and that's normal. Like they say like the best artists are the ones who start by copying first.
Correct.
But I felt that if we just copied blindly whatever is trending, on the internet, it's not going to look well. Like so, again, it goes down to being authentic and staying consistent with the brand and the story that we're trying to tell. So if my story is about how do I make videos, more accessible, how videos is actually accessible already, and anyone could be making videos without expensive equipment, and why it's so important for storytelling. I need to continue them, not like dance, TikTok videos or whatever. So like whichever helps to accomplish and propel the message more, allowed and accepted. But I think the whole copying trends can be relatively dangerous, as well as just not staying true, not providing enough value. Like because it's all copy and a rehash of every kind of material, there isn't enough original, unique content. But everyone has a unique story to tell. So yeah.
I think that was beautiful. Everyone has a unique story to tell, and I think that's a great motivation for the people to just go all out and be able to tell stories and to be able to create fame for themselves. Okay, let me just quickly give a check why exactly. Okay, I hope it can be better now. But at the same time, as we are almost reaching to the end of the discussion and touching upon so much about storytelling and especially your own story, Of course, burnout was something that I picked up, and definitely you don't want, because I do realize that's a big thing. But a piece of learning that you have from your entrepreneurial journey in the past years that you've had as a bootstrap business, and you would love to share it with our audience before we wrap it up for tonight.
Yeah, I think just don't, like don't hesitate too much. Like most of the time we can spend 2 years coming up with a business plan and all that. Until you put that plan to the test, you will never know what's going to happen. So I just tend to like make your best plan in while seeking some consultation, reading up about it, uh, doing your best, but not hesitating too long on the plan because nothing is proven until it hits the market, basically. So yeah, don't be afraid. Get your ideas out there.
So guys, just do it. That's it. That's it. Stop thinking or stop overthinking, let's just say. But that's amazing, I Ching. I think it was lovely to have you and to talk about visual storytelling so much, and indeed also let them share about that video is a go-to place. I do also believe that LinkedIn is another platform which doesn't put videos as the highest priority, but I've always preached the part which is, guys, go and create videos even on the LinkedIn, because it is not the number one way that people get the highest engagement, but you build such amazing relationship only because of the videos, because that's where people go all out and have the authenticity. That's where they see you, they see your expressions, they see connect with you. So there's no replacement to all the funny faces that you make, and you go all out and create those videos. But I love it, and I've used the platform in itself. Means I've personally used the platform and I've also loved it there. So thank you so much for being here and sharing a sneak preview of your journey as an entrepreneur and also as a visual storyteller. With this, before we wrap it up, let me invite up on stage Anil back again to give you a small and a sweet surprise. Hey Anil, welcome back.
Hey, thank you so much, Khush. Hey, Hai Ching. Nice to see you again. Wow, I'm so glad that we were able to get you on the show. And I'll tell you only one reason which Khush mentioned, because we do a lot of our B2B and B2C workshops from Salt and Pepper. And we insist our all participants that storytelling is such important. Go all out, create those video contents. I know it's not easy, but create that. It's so important. And I'm so glad that you resonated with it and you came and stressed upon that same fact which is there. But yes, coming back to the sweet surprise and not taking much time, I'm also known as a 60 seconds guy, because being in sales for almost 2 decades, and in sales, there's something called an elevator pitch, which you would have given to a lot of investors. And that's where you kind of give away the whole understanding of your business model, quickly get their traction about, and then talk about the next meeting. And since I've been in sales and I've always used elevator pitches, so taking that back to Linkpreneur stories, I use that same 60 seconds, and whatever the guest comes in and talks about their whole life journey in 40 minutes to 60 minutes, I've wrapped them up into 60 seconds. I'm not sure how much I'm able to do it always, but that's what I try and put an attempt to it. Are you ready to listen to your 60 seconds summary?
I love it. Let's go.
Okay, here's my 60 seconds. So you talked about how do we relate to a brand? And of course, the answer was storytelling. We talked about three types of storytelling. One was data driven, second was ABC, and third was XYZ. So guys, if you want to know this ABC and XYZ, please go and watch the recording once again. Third thing which you said about is message is so important, and then find out what to deliver. You also said the best storytelling medium is the video, because that's where the authenticity comes in and the emotions are felt. Then you said don't hesitate too much. To all the guys and the founders, try out. Nobody's gonna get you killed, right? And the last one, which I really loved, which you resonated with your real life journey, was live life backwards. And if I have to sum this up into a small thing, because I read an article in HBR, Harvard Business Review, which said that in our information saturated age, business leaders won't be heard unless they are telling stories. This was a very famous quote from Nick Morgan. He was the author of Power Cues and president of founder of Public Words. So, guys, go all out and tell your stories out there. That's my 60 seconds for you, I Ching.
That was wonderful. Very precise. I love it.
Thank you so much.
Oh.
Kush, you're on mute.
Awesome. That's really lovely to know, I Ching. And I think it was amazing to have you on Linkpreneur Stories and share your ride as quick as it was, but at the same time, highly valuable and some great insights for everybody to take away. Any final words that you have for us or for our audiences before we wrap it up?
I would love for everyone to check out either Picture Chart if you have something, some visuals that you need to make, or videos if you do webinars and talks like this and you're looking to repurpose that. Yeah, just a shout out to get you all to check out the products. Yeah.
Yes, guys, please go. And if one place you want to connect with, I think, what would that be?
Let's go for LinkedIn since we're on LinkedIn.
Awesome. Let's do it then in that case. Superb. It was pleasure having you up on the show and I hope you enjoyed it as well. See you soon back again. But at the same time, kudos to the work that you guys have pulled it together.
True.
Thank you
you
so much
for being in the show.
Yeah. No, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. So, guys, that was I Ching from Picture Story or Picture Chart, whatever you want to remember her for, but both are her babies. And indeed, coming in and sharing was amazing. And the whole reason we wanted her to be on the show is because being a female entrepreneur, she has had her fair share of ride. Bootstrapping business is never easy. So much investment talks are there, but that doesn't mean that's the only way. You can have your small amount going all in and growing your business every single day. That's also a way, guys. That's also a way. Just raising investment is not the only way to go out. Indeed, with Beyond 99 and Salt&Pepper, both the businesses we bootstrapped and we took it to the next level. So if you have the right team, right people, right mindset, and the right culture, surely it is possible. And no doubt, being into the growth segment, personally, myself and Anil, we have been fancied by storytelling. My TEDx talk was all about it. So definitely getting someone also to really go out and share why storytelling actually plays an important role from her point of view was amazing. And I completely loved it. How about you, Anil?
Oh, perfect. I think I completely resonated with this. In fact, guys, if you go and check out either Kush or Chetan's or my LinkedIn profile, and if you see when we are curating content, we actually do a visual storytelling because that's where we post out our own pictures of real life and we relate to that. And I think that's so important. And that's what I was telling I Ching also, that thanks for coming, stressing on that same fact, because you need to be out there to resonate your brand stories which are there. You have to be personally there. And if you can do that with visuals, it will be so nice. At any point in time, I'm sure all the audiences out here, when they're watching a post which is just a texty post and which is with some pictures or a video, of course the traction would be more there, the eyeballs would be more there.
100%. And with this, almost wrapping up for tonight, guys. Thank you so much for joining us on Linkpreneur Stories and being with us every single time. And also, do make sure to hit the share button if you would want other people as well to pick it up more and more about visual storytelling. So don't forget, hit the share button and make sure you share it with your audiences and your loved one. Our ride of telling stories.
And
With this,
guys, we are back on Spotify. One more reminder, like the last episode, Linkpreneur Stories is on Spotify. We already have about 12 episodes on Spotify and more will get added. So please go and click the link, and which is www.linkpreneur.com/podcast, and subscribe to the podcast of Linkpreneur Stories.
yes, guys, we are on podcast now. So that means you can hear us while running, while driving, or even while just taking a quick break. So every time it's just audio now. So go to the Spotify and drop a review for us. We would love to hear how your experience was because many of you have not seen our early episodes and you would get to know some amazing people from there. And go back and reach out to them on LinkedIn as well. With this, thank you so much, guys. See you very soon next week back again with another amazing guest coming in from Singapore to share his story of successes and failures. With this, good night, guys. Rise and shine.
I really believe that bootstrapping is a process where every founder or every founder to be must go through.
Well, Tony Fernandez at my age, at 40 years old, he already start asking money for hundreds of millions, and I'm just asking for a few millions. It's still not a big deal for me.
I seriously love failure, and you cannot imagine how much I love failure. I look at failure as such a big blessing to me, you know. I am so thankful that when I fail, because it just means that I'm going to be so much better the next time.
If you have all the money in the world, if you have all the time in the world, what will you spend your time and your money to do?